Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please check it. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. But thank you. Hello. 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 Sound ఉందా లేదా? హలో 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 బ్యాట్ ఇస్ దీనికి మరి సౌండ్ రావట్లేదు. హలో హలో డైలీ ఒకసారి క్లాస్ ముందు చెక్ చేయి. హలో అను. హలో అంటే తెలుస్తుంది మనకి. మరి ఎందుకు రావట్లేదు ఇప్పుడు చూడు. హలో 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 guys just 1 minute. Right, good evening guys. Right sir, and just 1 or 2 days of time, a small adjustment that another projector is in repair actually. Then maybe tomorrow evening it will come. Then up to that you have to attend at one side only. Then after that we'll provide that both the sides. Right, now let's understand the content today, what I am going to discuss there. Officially we are going to start that actual content in today, and yesterday just we completed what we completed there in the last session there, just a Java history. That part we completed. Java history, basic awareness on Java, why Java is coming into the picture, why Sun Microsystems has given Java programming language to us. All the points we understood there clearly. Now in today's session we are going to start the second topic in Java. What was that second topic here we are going to start in Java there in today's session? Right sir, Java history we completed there, some few points we discussed there. Then after that we need to understand the next topic is like what there, differences between Java and other programming languages. Differences between Java and other programming languages here we are able to understand. All right sir, what exactly the differences are available. Then before that I am telling to you why we need to go for this particular topic. Yesterday already I given some information about it. Point number 1, in your resume we may specify C, C++, Java and other programming languages. When interviewer identified these many technologies in our resume, definitely interviewer will ask to you what exactly the differences between C, C++ and Java. Already we have C and C++, then what is the requirement to go for Java? This question we may get when we specify these many technologies in our resume. So where to answer for that question, we have to understand what there this particular topic. And other thing is what there, in general, people are giving some information to you. If you want to learn a Java programming language, you have to learn C++ programming language. To learn a C++ programming language, we have to learn C programming language. Like this, people are giving some chain formation for all the technologies. But I'm really, in fact, what I'm telling to you, no prerequisite is required to learn a Java. In which way we are understanding C programming language? In which way we are understanding C++? In the same way, we can go for like what there? Java. Directly we are going to understand Java without having any prerequisites. But for the sake of your interviews at a fresher level, if you want to know C programming language, then we can go for it. Understand it here. For explicit requirement only, we can go for C programming language. Otherwise, for the sake of only Java, if you want to learn C programming language, not mandatory. Up to how much C programming language is required in our applications for Java, I will discuss up to that level in our classes. As part of that only, I started today. I'm going to start today differences between Java and other programming languages. Here, other programming languages are what there? C and C++. Right, guys? Now, understand that very first point here, very first difference here I'm going to discuss there. That very first difference is like what I'm telling to you. Right, sir. First one is C and C++ are C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is what there? A dynamic programming language. This is the very first point here we have to understand. Guys, all of you are following this point here. What is the first difference here we are going to understand? C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. Okay. Now, understand all of you, observe carefully. Before going to understand C, C++ and Java, whether they are static programming languages or dynamic programming languages, before that, first to understand when a programming language is static programming language, when a programming language is a dynamic programming language. To decide a programming language is a static programming language, what exactly the criteria we have to understand. To decide whether a programming language is a dynamic programming language or not, what exactly the criteria we are having, that we have to understand. Understand, guys? I'm telling to you one simple, very simple definition. I'm telling to you, try to understand it clearly. What's that point here I'm telling to you? Listen carefully. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types, allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as a static programming language. Guys, are you getting my point or not? If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a compilation time, if any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Similarly, if any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data type at a runtime, not at compilation time, at a runtime, then that programming language is called as dynamic programming language. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on these definitions now? Tell me, what is static programming language? If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as what? Static programming language. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a runtime, that programming language is what there? Dynamic programming language. Get my point or not? Right, sir. Now, you may have one question now. Sir, this is first class for me. Directly we have taken the differences between Java and others. In the differences between Java and other, the very first point we have taken, C, C++ are static programming languages. Java is a dynamic programming language, you said to me. That's okay, I understood that. But in the definition, in the elaboration, in the description, you said to me some terminology like compilation time, some terminology like runtime, and some terminology like primitive data types and memory allocation. I'm not understanding anything, sir. I'm completely at zero level in the technical. So I want to know that information. Right. Don't worry for it. I will explain each and every point clearly for you. Try to follow my statements now. Anyway, point is available. Further point, the respective information I've given. Understand it clearly. But before that, what I am telling to you, before this, what I am telling to you, try to follow my prerequisite part. Prerequisite for this particular point. I want to give some information there. Try to follow that. Then we are able to understand our content clearly. Right, sir. Now let's observe this clearly. I want to give one simple diagram here. What's the diagram here I'm going to provide here? Not this one. Right, sir. All of you observe carefully. One very, very simple diagram I'm going to provide. Now try to understand it. For example, I want to prepare a program. Listen, all of you clearly understand this. This is a program. Which program it is? No, say for example, C program. They are not directly Java. Say for example, a C program. Every C program file must have an extension is what there .c. If it is a C++ program, that extension should be what there .cpp. If it is Java program, that extension should be what there .java. If it is a Python program, that extension should be what there .py, py, py. I get my point or not? In that way, that files are existed. Now this I'm telling to you a C program. So the file extension should be what there no .c. Listen carefully. All right, sir. I have written this program. Guys, observe carefully. Who has written this program, sir? Who has written this program? A developer has written this program or not? Please understand this point here. A developer has written this program. Developer has written this program in his understandable language. Developer has written this program in his understandable language. Developers understandable language is what they know. High level language, high level representation, high level language, high level representation. What is this high level representation here? No, say for example, int I is equal to 10 semicolon. Int I is equal to 10 semicolon. Clear or not? That is high level syntax. Int data type, I variable, equal an operator, 10 is a constant, semicolon, terminator. Every part is having meaning that developer can understand. That is developer understandable language. Nice. I prepared this program, high level program I prepared. All right, so then whenever we prepare this program, one mission has to execute this program or not? See, tell me first of all, why we have read this program there, why we have written this program, to get some outputs we have written this program or not? But when we are able to get output from this program, they know when we execute this program, then only we are able to get output. When we execute this program, then only we are able to get output from this program. Am I right or not? To execute this program, here we are going to use one separate mission. To execute this program, we are going to use what there? Some separate mission. Now this is like what I'm telling there, execution. This could be done by a separate mission. That mission is called as what they know, C engine. C programs are executed by C engine. C++ programs are executed by C++ engine. Java programs are executed by Java engine. That is also be called as a JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Python programs are executed by Python engine. It is also be called as what they know, PVM, Python Virtual Machine. C programs are executed by what they know, C engine. Right, sir. Now, Whenever we have written this program, when we give this total program to the C engine, now here C engine has to execute that program, and the C engine has to provide output. C engine has to generate some output from this particular program. C engine has to generate what they know, some output from this particular program. All of you are following up to this, no? Come on, guys. Response is required. All of you are getting clarity up to now? Nice, very clear. Now observe carefully. Who has written this Java, this C program? No, developer. Developer has written this program in which language? No, high level representation. Example for high level representation is what there? Int I is equal to 10. Clear. Who is executing this program? Who is executing this program? C engine. C engine is not a developer, not a human being. C engine is a mission or not? Come on, guys. C engine is what they know? It's a mission. C engine is a mission. What it able to execute actually? What it able to understand actually? That C engine is able to understand what here? Observe carefully. C engine is able to understand only low-level representations, low-level language. It's a mission. In other words, I can say mission language. C engine is able to understand like what they know, mission language. Mission language representations it able to understand. Example for mission language representations, no. Int I is equal to 10 is a high level. For that, equivalent low level code is what they know. We can understand like this. Are get my point or not? That is what they know, mission language. Now tell me, this is low level representation, and this is what they know, high level representation. Developer can understand high level representation. So developer has written program in high level. Mission can understand only low level. Mission can execute only low level code. Now understand the situation what we are having there. When a high level program we have written, when we send that high level program to the C engine is unable to execute our program. C engine is unable to execute our program. Why C engine is not executing our program now? Why C engine is not executing our program at present? No, C engine is expecting the program in which language? No, low level representation. But what we provided to the C engine, high level program we provided. But C engine is unable to execute that high level program. C engine required that program in what representations they know? Low level. I get my point or not? So because of that reason, our program is not possible to execute by C engine clearly. I get my point or not? So what I have to do here, if I want to execute my program, then what I have to do? Here two options are available. Option number one, developer has to write the program in low level language instead of in a high level language. Is it possible for any developer? Developer can understand only high level, so he has to write program in what the low level. Not possible. Option one is not possible. Then we have to go for option number two. What is that option number two? No, that C engine must be prepared in such a way that to understand high level representation directly instead of in low level representation. C engine must be prepared to execute directly high level instead of what they know low level. Again, is it possible? No, again it is not possible here. C engine can understand only low level. Developer can write the program in what they know high level. Right, sir. Then what is the solution here? Third solution, third option I'm telling to you. Case 1 is not possible. Case 2 is also not possible. Case 3 I'm telling there. Understand that case 3 no. If any translator is available to translate the program from high level to low level, then we are able to get solution for our problem. If I have any translator to translate the program from high level to low level, then our problem is going to be solved here. Then what I'm telling to you, the translation is nothing but what there here, what I'm telling to you. For example, here I have a translator. This is a translator. Understand my point here? This is a translator. What is the job of this translator actually? The job of the translator is when we give high level program to this translator has to translate the program from high level representation to low level representation. Say for example, this I want to say like what they know, a low level representation. This low level representation contains only what we are able to have they know zeros and ones only about that program. Only zeros and ones only are existed here. We can understand it clearly. Right, sir. Then after that, This is like what they know, low level representation. Here we are having, understand it clearly. When we are having this low level representation, if we give that low level representation to the C engine, now C engine can execute this low level representation, it able to give some output. Now here, understand this clearly. Whatever the translator here we have used, this a translator can translate the program from high level representation to low level representation. That low level represented code is provided in the form of .exe file in the case of what they know, C programming language. In the form of what they know, .exe file in the form of, in the case of what there, C programming language. Right, sir. Here, whatever the translation here we have done there, the translation is called as compilation. The translation what we have done to translate the program from high level representation to low level representation. Now the translation, the process, the translation is called as what they know, compilation. All of you get my point now? The translation is called as what there, compilation. Guys, now I'm asking one question to you clearly. Now tell me, what exactly the job of the compilation here? What is the job of the compilation here? Now tell me, you have to answer for my question here. What is the job of the compilation? Point number one, to translate, program from, what to what? Now tell me here, program from high level representation to high level language to low level language. High level language to low level language, or high level representations to low level representation. High level representation to low level representation. That is what exactly the job of the compilation. Am I right or not? This is one point here. Right. Observe carefully. The second point I'm telling to you, another point. Guys, all of you listen carefully. Who has written this program? Developer has written this program. Programmer or developer or user, whatever it may be. Developer has written this program. Developer is a human being or not? Obviously, developer is a human being, right? What is the fundamental right for a human being? Committing the mistakes. Am I right or not? Having mistakes is a fundamental right for human being. That means, even though the developer is very good developer, but while writing that program, he may have n number of errors. No. In my point of view, the developer who is getting more and more number of errors is the right developer. The developer, he is not getting any error. Even a single error is not available on first attempt itself. No, he is a fake developer only. Why? Because he copied code from somewhere else. Answer my point here. No. See, okay, getting errors is not at all the problem here. Skipping from errors is a problem. I think this statement is much useful for you in learning process. What people are doing there in general, no? Whenever they have written first Java program, when they compile the program, maybe 15 to 20 number of errors are coming. By seeing all 15 to 20 number of errors at a time, no, by default they are deciding, no, Java is not suitable for me, I want to go for some other technology. No, that is not the way. Whenever we are getting more number of errors in our compilation process, feel happy for that. When we are getting more number of errors, feel happy. Why we have to feel happy? No, when we are getting more number of errors, it indirectly giving information to you, you are going to learn more subject. Whenever we are getting more number of errors, no, we are going to resolve the errors. While correcting the errors, you may get more knowledge. So that's why whenever we are getting errors, no, feel very happy for that. But don't go away from your system. Stay at your system. Try to resolve one by one, one by one, one by one. After completion of all errors, whenever we are getting output, no, that feel is totally different. Yes, guys, all of you get my point or not? Okay, fine. Anyway, here coming to our point here, right, sir? Whenever we have written the program, we are able to get some compilation errors. Number of errors here we are able to get. Number of mistakes we are able to do. Having mistakes is not the crime. But without checking the mistakes, without correcting the mistakes, trying to execute the program is a crime. Are getting my point or not? Having number of errors in our program is not a mistake, is not a crime. But without correcting the errors, if you go for execution, then that will be a big crime. So what we have to do, whenever we are getting errors, no, try to correct the errors, try to resolve the errors. Okay, whatever it may be. Whenever we have written a program, first we have to check whether errors are available or not in my program. When we have written a program, first we have to check whether we are getting an error in our program or not. The checking process is required or not. Checking for the errors is required or not before execution here now. Right, that could be done by whom there no compilation process. The second responsibility of the compilation is what there to check developers mistakes, to check developers mistakes in applications. To check developers mistakes in applications, we have to go for what they know compilation. Guys, I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to understand it. No, what exactly the purposes of compilation? No, what are the reasons of compilations? Two reasons are available. What are the two reasons? No, translating our program from high level representation to low level representation. Then second one is what there, checking errors, developers mistakes in the program, right? Giving information about these mistakes to the user, to the programmer is another responsibility. The other two responsibilities of what there no compilation. Next one is what there, execution, directly executing our code, getting some output. It's okay, different story. All of you get my point or not? Listen, next one more conclusion I'm telling there, try to understand it. No, the time when we perform compilation, the time when we perform compilation, that is called as compilation time. The time when we perform compilation, that is called as what? Compilation time. Answer my point here. This compilation time is also be called as a static time. Compilation time is also be called as like what there, static time. The time when we compile the program, that is called as what there, static time. The time when we compile the program is called as what there, static time. Okay, all of you are following my points now? Compilation time is also be called as what there, static time. Nice. The time when we execute the program, the time when we execute the program is called as dynamic time. Is also be called as runtime. Is also be called as what they know, runtime. Answer my point here. The time when we execute the program, that is called as what their dynamic time. Is also be called as what the runtime. Is also be called as like what they know, execution time. These many names are available. Guys, all of you are getting my point now? Compilation in the sense static, execution in the sense what they're dynamic. Times I'm telling to you clearly. Got my point or not? Here itself I'm telling one conclusion, try to understand it now. If any programming language allows or provides memory allocation for the data at a compilation time, if any programming language allows memory allocation for the data at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as what? Static programming language. If any programming language provides memory allocation at a runtime, not at compilation time, then that programming language is called as what they know, dynamic programming language. Again, guys, one more point I'm asking there. Still, 2 points are not clear. Compilation time I understood, runtime I understood, okay. But 2 more points I'm telling to you. Now try to understand it clearly. Guys, all of you observe carefully what I'm telling to you. Listen carefully. Int I is equal to 10 is available. Guys, all of you observe carefully. Int I is equal to 10. Okay, not even int I is equal to 10, guys. In our simplified manner, byte b is equal to 10. Okay, then no confusion. Everybody will understand this integer, I think so. Int I is equal to 10. Understand it clearly. Now tell me here, in this statement, int is a data type or not? Int is a data type now. Which type of data type it is now? Primitive data type. Byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. How many? 8. What are these 8 now? Please try to repeat. Byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. How many are no? 8. These 8 are called as primitive data types. In any programming language, these are what they know? Primitive data types. Int is a primitive data type or not? Okay, that is data type. I is a variable or not? Equal operator. 10 is a data or not? 10 is what there? Data. Now I'm asking one question there. When we execute this program, automatically, internally, for I variable, depending on the programming language, some bytes of memory will be created. If it is a C and a C++, 2 bytes of memory. If it is Java, 4 bytes of memory. Depending on programming language, no memory allocation will be provided. Let's assume it. Now we are in C programming language. For I variable, how much memory is allocated here? No, 4 bytes of memory. How much memory is allocated here? No, 2 bytes of memory. In the case of what there? C and C++. Inside these 2 bytes of memory, what is the data will be stored here? No, 10 is the data will be stored. 10 is the data will be stored. Now tell me guys, I is a primitive variable, primitive data type. Memory is allocated for I variable, 2 bytes of memory. Am I right or not? Listen carefully. In any programming language, if this memory is allocated at compilation time, if this memory is allocated for I variable at compilation time, not at runtime, then that programming language is called as what there? Static programming language. In any programming language, if this memory is allocated for an I variable at a runtime, not at compilation time, at a runtime, then that programming language is what they know? Dynamic programming language. Got my point or not? So these are the primitive data types. No, for the primitive data types, if memory is allocated at compilation time, then the programming language is called as what there? Static programming language. If the memory is allocated for primitive data types at a runtime, then the programming language is what there? Dynamic programming language. Yes, sir. All of you are following or not? Can I have two statements document here? Anyway, I need to share the document to all of you. Can I write some information about this document, guys? Right, sir. Observe carefully. Now the heading is what there. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. Now try to understand it clearly. If any programming language, PL in the sense what their programming language, allows memory allocation for primitive data types at a compilation time. At what time? They know compilation time. Then at a compilation time, then that programming language, is called as static programming language. Static programming language. Understand it clearly. That programming language is what they're called as static programming language. Example C and C++. Example C and C++. Understand the point what I'm telling to you now. Okay. Guys, it's not mandatory to write these notes. No, then anyway, I will share this document to all of you. Already given access for it. Now we can check for it also. No, for the sake of you only, I'm typing the content here. Okay. Next one is what I'm telling there. In a C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a compilation time only. At a compilation time only. Because of that reason, C and C++ are what they know? Static programming languages. That's a simple point here I'm telling to you. Clear? I may have one more question now in this case. I think whether you're having question or not, but I'm giving information to you. You may have one more question. If you know something about C programming language, you may have a doubt. What is the doubt now? Sir, in the C programming language, two functions are available. CLAC, MLAC, these two functions are available. By using these two functions, we are able to allocate memory at runtime. We are able to allocate memory at what time? They know runtime. So how can we say C is a static programming language? Why don't we say C is a dynamic programming language? You may have this type of question. Am I right or not? But I will give answer for you. Try to understand it clearly. What is the answer I'm telling to you? Listen carefully. MLAC and CLAC functions are used to request to the C engine about to allocate memory at runtime. That is not the default memory allocation in the C programming language. I get my point or not? Int I is equal to 10. By default, memory will be allocated for I variable 2 bytes of memory. That's the default memory allocation. MLAC, CLAC in the sense that is our explicit request to the C engine. I need some memory at runtime. That is explicit request. This is not default memory allocation. Default memory allocation is what there. When I provide int I is equal to 10, by default 2 bytes of memory will be allocated for I variable. That is a default memory allocation. But CLAC, MLAC, this type of functions, if I use now, that is not default memory allocation. That we request to the C engine about to provide a bit memory for my requirement. That will not take as a count. Only default memory allocation only we have to take it as a count here. Right, leave this point here. Next one is what there. If any programming language, answer my point here. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at a runtime. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data types at runtime, then that programming language is called as dynamic programming language. Dynamic programming language. Answer my point here. That programming language is called as what there? Dynamic programming language. Observe carefully. What is that example for dynamic programming language? No, Java. Java is the best example. If you want to take other examples, no, I can say Python. In the case of Python, no compilation time. In the case of Python, no compilation time. Everything is going on at runtime only. I get my point or not? So we can take Python also, but Python is not our context, no, not required to include that. Then what I am telling to you after completion of this, the point is what I am telling to you, right, sir? In understand my point clearly. In Java applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a runtime only, not at compilation time. No. In the case of Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data types. At what time here? No, runtime only, not at what there? No, compilation time. No. One small clarity, try to understand it. No. Now tell me, all of you now tell me, in C and C++, memory will be allocated for the primitive data at what time? Compilation time. In the case of Java, memory will be allocated for primitive data types at what time? Runtime. Are get my point or not? Just 1 minute. Try to understand it now. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Am I right or not? Java is what now? An object-oriented programming language. So what is the meaning of it now? How can we say Java is an object-oriented programming language? What is the meaning of it? Meaning is very simple. In Java applications, every data will be represented in the form of objects only. In case of Java, every data will be represented in the form of what there? Object only. Means that when object is created, whenever object is created, then only memory will be allocated for the data. Data will be stored inside the object only. Object is not any other one. Object is a block of memory. Object is what? No, a block of memory. When object is created, then only memory will be allocated for the data in the case of Java. But in Java, when objects are created, in Java, when objects are created, in Java, objects are created at runtime, not at compilation time. In Java, objects will be created at what time? They know runtime, not at compilation time. In Java, objects are creating at runtime. Means that in Java, memory will be allocated for the data at a runtime, not at compilation time. Get my point or not? In Java, at what time object will be created? At runtime. Means that in Java, memory will be allocated for the data at a runtime, not at compilation time. So in this direction also we can conclude Java is a dynamic programming language or not. In this way also we can conclude Java is a dynamic programming language or not. Guys, no response. Right, so now this is what exactly the meaning of static programming languages and what next one? No, dynamic programming languages. All of you get my points or not? Understand this clearly. Right, sir. Okay, fine. So finally, I want to wind up this point here. I hope so. All of you might be understand this point. Clear? Am I right? Am I right? Now tell me, when a programming language is static programming language, come on. When a programming language allows memory allocation at what time? Compilation time. Then it is what there? Static programming language. When a programming language is dynamic programming language, when the programming language allows memory allocation at what time? Runtime. Then the programming language is what there? Dynamic programming language. Examples for dynamic programming language: Java. In Java, at what time memory will be allocated for the data? At runtime. Example for static programming language: C and C++. In C and C++, at what time memory will be allocated for the data? At a compilation time now. So these are like what there? Static programming languages and dynamic programming languages. Can you tell me what are the responsibilities of the compilation now? What are the responsibilities of the compilation now? Come on. Then translating the program from which level to which level? High level representation to low level representation. And second responsibility is what there? Second responsibility is what they're checking developers mistakes. That is called as what there? Compilation error. That is compilation process care. Understand it clearly. Right, sir. I'm going to provide this diagram also here for the sake of your reference. Then we can understand it clearly. Right, guys. That's okay, fine. Now my point is completed. Point number one is effectively we understood. Now try to come for the second point here. All of you okay? Right, sir. Now the second point is like what there? Listen carefully. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Yes, guys, understand it clearly. Points are simple or not? Static and dynamic, you understood clearly, right? Right, sir. Now tell me, which programming language is good in the point of static and dynamic? Anyway, before understanding this point, one more question I'm asking there. Static programming languages are available, dynamic programming languages are available. Static programming languages are C and C++, dynamic programming language is what there? Java. Now here, between the static and dynamic, if you observe this, which programming languages are good? Definitely dynamic programming languages are good. Why? Because in a dynamic programming languages, memory will be allocated on demand, on requirement. Memory will be allocated. But in the case of static programming languages, what happen? Whether you have the requirement or not, whether you are using the data or not, that doesn't matter. Initially, memory will be created for the data. But in the case of dynamic programming languages, when I want to use the data, then only memory will be allocated. When we are going to use the data, then only memory will be allocated. In the case of dynamic programming languages, that means on demand, memory will be provided. But in the case of static programming languages, with or without your utilization, with or without your requirement, no, first total memory will be allocated. Am I right or not? So which programming languages are good for us? No, dynamic programming languages. Because of that reason, nowadays every programming language is what they know, dynamic programming language. Right, sir. Now let's understand this clearly, all of you guys. Second point, can you read out what is the second point? No, preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Okay, sir. So this point is okay, but before understanding preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++ and Java, before that, first of all, tell me what is this preprocessor? What is the role of the preprocessor in programming language? What is the purpose of it? After that, I'm going to understand whether it is required or not required in C, C++, Java. But first of all, I don't know anything about preprocessor. Now, first of all, understand this point clearly. Right, I'm going to give what exactly the preprocessor and its role. Try to understand that. After that, we are going to decide whether preprocessor is required or not required. Guys, one more point I'm telling there. This is not much simple to understand. In my every batch, people are feeling difficulty to understand this particular point. But now I want to check your awareness. I want to check your concentration, whether you are going to understand really this point or not. On a single attempt, we are going to understand this point or not. I want to check your knowledge today. Your concentration, I want to check today. But in all my batches, no, on first attempt, no student is understanding this point. But I want to check your awareness, your concentration today. So will you put more concentration now? Will you understand in a single attempt? Some people are not giving response now. Some people are saying lightly by closing half eyes now. Okay. Not like that. Be active. Now, for the sake of you all, I'm telling this point here. But at the same time, I'm giving importance of this particular point. Should be active. I think so. Of course. You might be directly coming from your colleges. You might be directly coming from your offices. I know. After completion of the office, coming to the student sitting inside the class is a bit pain. I know. But you have to enjoy with our class now. When you enjoy with our subject, then only you can understand everything. This is your responsibility. Office work is your, what I'm telling there, that is your responsibility, but this is what there your life. You want to change your field, so this is your life, so you have to put more concentration here. Anyway, I'm going to give much clarity, try to understand it. All right, sir. Now what is our point now? What is preprocessor? Where is this preprocessor in our programming languages? That points here we have to understand. Am I right or not? Let's understand this clearly. I want to give one simple diagram to all of you guys. Try to observe this diagram now. Simple, very simple diagram. Try to understand it. Next 15 to 20 minutes of time. Topic is very, very important. Try to put concentration now. For example, I'm going to take a program. That means a file. Which file here I'm going to take now? .c. C program only. I'm going to take it. When we have written this C program, there we have to perform compilation or not? Come on, guys. There we have to perform compilation or not? For what purpose we are performing compilation now? For what purpose we are performing compilation now? To translate our program from high level to low level and to check developers' mistakes. All right, sir. Now here what we require here now, compilation is required. Guys, observe carefully all the times now. I'm not saying compiler. Every time I'm saying compilation. Why I'm telling that? You are going to understand now. Right, sir. After completion of this compilation, what we are able to get there, one type of files here we are able to get. Of course, in the case of C, C++, there is a confusion. After compilation, which file here we are able to get? Some people are saying .obj file. Some other people are saying .exe file. Some other people are saying .ai file. It's a bit confusion, but finally we require .exe file. That's a different story. But in the case of Java, no confusion. Java is a fair and forward. Java is a straight. In case of Java, only two files. Before compilation, .java file. After compilation, .class file. No .obj, no .exe, no .ai. No, all these things are not available. In Java, very clear. Before compilation, .java. After compilation, .class. That's it. Okay, let's understand. Later on, we'll understand that point here. Now, understand this point here. .exe file that I have taken there. Next one, after that, I want to execute this program. To execute this program here, what I'm going to do there, here we have to go for like what there, execution. Here we have to understand like what there, no, execution. Execution we have to provide. Whenever we are executing this program there, then definitely here we have to get what they know, some output. Some output here we are able to perform. Output here we are able to provide. Right, sir. Are you getting clarity up to now? Have I used any new terminology? In the first point, what I discussed there, the same thing I've given. .c file, compilation, .exe file, execution, output. Come this side. Get my point or not? Have I done anything extra here? No, nothing. Now observe carefully. Observe carefully. What exactly the meaning of compilation? If you observe this, previously I said you compilation, no, but how this compilation is performed, what mission is performing compilation? If you observe this, understand my point clear. If you observe this particular point now, compilation in the sense is not the work of a single mission. It is not the work of a single mission. It is not the process of a single mission. It is a process of the combination of four missions. Compilation is a work coming out from four missions, collaborated work. Four missions are involved to complete compilation. What are these four missions which are involved to complete this compilation? No, the very first one is like what there, preprocessor. The first one is like what there, preprocessor, and the second one is like what there, compiler. Now I'm telling their compiler. First one is what there, preprocessor. Second one is what there, compiler. Next one is like what there, assembler. Next one is like what there, assembler. Then after that, another one is what there, loader, link editor. Loader, link editor. Again, it is a combination of two missions, loader and editor, link editor. Right, so these are the four missions effort. These are the four missions work is going on inside like what they know, compilation. Guys, all of you are following these points now? All right, so now tell me, compilation is performed by how many missions work here? No, four missions work. What are the four missions here? Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Loader and link editor. Clear or not? Not required to understand every mission functionality immediately. When I require, I will discuss that information there. But try to follow this diagram. Right, sir. Anyway. Now, anyway, here we have discussion about this compiler. That's why I want to go for, again, compiler, internal architecture. I required only preprocessor information that I got up to now. But anyway, discussion is coming there in the architecture compiler. I want to elaborate the compiler internal content also. Observe carefully. Inside the compiler again, how many phases are available here? Try to understand these phases. No, 6 number of phases are available inside the compilation. What are the 6 number of phases are available inside the compilation here? First one is like what the lexical analysis. Simply lexical analyzer. Lexical analysis or what they know, lexical analyzer. Next one after that, syntax analysis or syntax analyzer. Next one is semantic analysis. Semantic analysis or semantic analyzer. Next one, intermediate code generation. Intermediate code generation or intermediate code generator. Next one is code optimization or code optimizer. At the end, code generation. At the end, what they know, code generation. Guys, all of you are getting my points or not? Totally, how many missions are available here inside this compilation now? Overall, how many missions are available here now? Nearly 6 missions are available. What are the 6 missions here now? Lexical analysis. Second one is what there? Syntax analysis. Next one is what there? Semantic analysis. Next one is what there? Intermediate code generation. Then after that, what next one you know? Code optimization. At the end, what we are having there now? Code generation. Guys, observe carefully what I am telling to you clearly. Again here now. All right, sir. Lexical analysis phase, syntax analysis phase, semantic analysis phase, intermediate code generation, code optimization. Then what next one here? Code generation. This is somewhat structure we can understand. I get my point now? Now, at present, what I required here, I don't require compiler internal structure. Just for the sake of your benefit, understanding all I given that. Now, at present, my requirement is what there? What exactly the location of the preprocessor? This is my required information. Why it is a required information? No, I given that the title preprocessor is required in C and C++, but a preprocessor is not required in Java. I given the title. Because of the title here, I am giving clarity. Preprocessor is existed here. That is a location of the preprocessor. What is the location of the preprocessor here? No, part of the compilation. Preprocessor location is what there? Part of the compilation. That too, which position it is? No, first position, means that first element, the first processing unit inside the compilation is what they know, preprocessor. Guys, from this diagram, what we understood there, location of the preprocessor we understood. Get my point or not? Location of the preprocessor. What is the location of the preprocessor? Part of the compilation first phase. First phase inside the compilation. That's the preprocessor. That's the location of the preprocessor. Is clear? All of you are getting clarity? Now coming to the point here. Coming to the point now. Now here processor now. After understanding the location of the preprocessor, then what is the job of the preprocessor? Observe carefully. Preprocessor is the first phase in compilation. Preprocessor is the first phase in what they know, compilation. Answer my point here. That's the point here I'm telling there. Location I'm telling to you. All right, sir. Now immediately I want to give the diagram also. Whatever the diagram I prepared here about this preprocessor that I want to give there. That's okay, fine. So that we are able to finish our point also there. This is a diagram here we can understand. Preprocessor location here I've given that. That's okay, fine. Then what is the job of the preprocessor actually? What exactly the job of the preprocessor here now? Answer my point here. Listen carefully. In C and C++, guys observe carefully. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files or not? Please recognize it. Now I'm telling you what is the purpose of the preprocessor, what it able to do now. As part of that, I'm giving information to you. Preprocessor is the first phase in compilation. That is point number one. Second point, what I'm telling there, in C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Guys, can you tell me examples for header files now? stdio.h, am I right or not? Then what next one, guys? Now tell me. Conio.h. Then what next one here? After completion of this one, math.h. Am I right or not? All these header files are exist or not? Right, sir. Understand it clearly. These many header files are available. Okay, stdio.h, conio.h, math.h, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, fine. Observe carefully. Fine. Predefined library is available in the form of header files. Nice, very clear. But I want to use that predefined library in my C program. I want to use that predefined library in my C program. If we want to use predefined library in C program, we have to include these header files to the C program or not? Actually, C predefined library is available in the form of header files. If I want to use that in our C program, we have to include that header files to the C program or not? Right, sir. Now here the point is what there. If we want to use predefined library in if you want to use predefined library in a C and C++ applications, in C and C++ applications, first we have to include header files into C and C++ applications. C and C++ applications. Now tell me, to include header files in C and C++ applications, what we have to do, guys? Now tell me. Answer my point here. To include, tell me, sir, to include predefined library, that means to include header files in C and C++ applications, to include header files in C and C++ applications, we have to use, which statement here we have to use there? Hash include statement or not? Guys, you have to follow this. Already these points you might be aware about it now. To include header files in our C and C++ program, we have to use what statement there now? Hash include statement. Even though you are not aware, see, I'm giving clarity now. Predefined library is available in C and C++. That means in the form of header files. If we want to use that predefined library in our C program, we have to include these header files. To include these header files, what statements here we are using there now? Hash include statement here we are using. Am I right or not? Okay, then tell me some examples here. How we are going to use them now? Hash include stdio.h. Hash include. Now tell me guys. Hash include conio.h. Next one. Hash include Hash include, what we have to provide there? Hash include math.h. Like this here we are able to write or not? All these are C instructions only. Are you feeling any difficulty? Come on guys, no response now. Are you feeling any difficulty with this content? Simple only, simple. What we have seen in C only, that I'm giving there. Simple, okay, fine. Now, if you are not feeling difficulty with this process, no, next I'm giving some internal topic, try to understand it. All of you ready? All of you ready? So still I'm seeing some sleepy kind of faces now. If you are sleeping inside my class now, I will come to you, I will ask 10 Java questions. Finish, you may lost your sleeping. Right, sir, all of you ready? Okay, good. Let's understand it now. Try to concentrate here with open mind. Forget about all of your problems now. Look at my face. If my face is not good, at least see that screen. Huh? All right, now let's understand this now. I have written a C program. C program I have written. Inside my C program, I have written these hash include statements. Clear? I have written a C program. Inside that C program, I have written these hash include statements. Clear? I compiled my program. I compiled my C program, which includes all these hash include statements. Now understand it. When I compile my program, inside the compilation, what phase is the first phase? No. Now preprocessor will start it. It's a process or not? When I compile the program, preprocessor will start its activity or not? Listen carefully now. When I compile my program, preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. Who will recognize these hash include statements? No. Preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header files names what we provided along with hash include statements. Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header files names from the hash include statements. After that, preprocessor will go inside C software. Already you installed C software in our system. After taking these header files names now, preprocessor will go inside the C software. Inside the C software, inside C predefined library, preprocessor will go there. Preprocessor will go inside the C software. Inside the C software, preprocessor will go to inside the predefined library. Inside the predefined library, preprocessor will check whether these header files are available or not available. Come again, what is the process I said to you? When I compile my C program, preprocessor will recognize hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the header files names. Preprocessor will go inside the C software. Inside the C software, there is a block again, predefined library. Preprocessor will go inside the predefined library. Inside the predefined library, preprocessor will search, will check whether these header files are available or not available. For example, if these header files are not available inside the C software, then immediately error will be raised. Alright, you specified these header files in our program. As per my level best, I checked these header files inside the C software, but they are not available. What I have to do now? That's why I'm giving error message to you. I'm giving that information. You used these header files, but I didn't identify these header files at any location there. So this is an error message. Try to check it. For example, if these header files are available in our C software, if these header files are available in our software, immediately preprocessor will take that header files. That header files contains executable code, predefined library executable code. Preprocessor will take that header files. Preprocessor will load these header files provided executable code to the memory. Preprocessor will load these header files content to the memory. Now tell me, at what time this preprocessor is doing this work? Come on, at what time this preprocessor is doing this work? At compilation time or at runtime? Compilation time only. At a compilation time, all the header files content will be loaded to the memory or not? At a compilation time, preprocessor is loading all the specified header files content to the memory or not? Loading predefined library to the memory at a compilation time is called as static loading. What is that loading? No, static loading. Guys, all of you are following that internal process? No, come on, understand it once again here. Give response to me. When we compile our C program, first phase of the compilation is what there? Preprocessor. What preprocessor will do? No, preprocessor will recognize all hash include statements. Preprocessor will take the provided header files names. Preprocessor will go to C software. Inside that, preprocessor will go to C predefined library. Inside the predefined library, preprocessor will check whether these header files are available or not available. If these header files are not available, error will be provided. If these header files are available inside the C software, preprocessor will take them out. Preprocessor will load that header files content to the memory. Loading this predefined library to the memory at a compilation time is called as what loading there? Static loading. Loading is what there? No, static loading. Now I'm asking one question. I'll try to answer for it. Preprocessor is performing static loading of the library or not? Preprocessor is performing static loading or not? Point number one. Hash include statements are supporting static loading or not? Hash include statements are supporting what they know? Static loading or not? Header files are meant for static loading or not? Header files are meant for what they know? Static loading. Got my point or not? Okay, sir. If you understand this point now I'm asking one question to you. Try to answer for it. What is the purpose of the preprocessor in C and C++? What is the purpose of preprocessor in C and C++? To recognize hash include statements in order to load header files content to the memory. In a single statement, that overall process I'm telling you in a single statement, the job of the preprocessor in a C and C++ is what there? To recognize hash include statements in order to load specified header files content to the memory. I get my point or not? This is a job of the preprocessor. Now tell me, in C and C++, yesterday what .h, conio.h, math.h, these header files are required or not? Come on, in C and C++, these header files are mandatory or not? Mandatory. If these header files are mandatory, so hash include statements are must or not? Hash include statements are mandatory or not? If a hash include statements are mandatory, then a preprocessor is required in C and C++ or not? That's it. That half of the statement we completed now. Preprocessor is required in C and C++. That's the point I'm telling there. Come on, my answer is very clear. My point is very clear. In a C and C++, header files are required, mandatory. So hash include statements are mandatory. So preprocessor is what there? Mandatory or not? Right. Preprocessor is required in C and C++ in order to recognize hash include statements, in order to load the specified header files content to the memory. Because of that reason, preprocessor is required in C and C++. Yes. No response. Fine, sir. Good, nice. What is the second statement now? Preprocessor not required in Java. Preprocessor is not required in Java. Guys, in the first day itself, I don't want to eat your brain. Giving some information, understood up to now? All of you okay? Right. Now understand the same way. Understand the next point now. Observe carefully. But internal process I have to type there. I'm taking some time to write that internal process. Don't worry for it. Now try to understand the next one here. Your diagram is also available. Then after that, I'm trying to give that information here now. Right, guys. Anyway, internal process I will write. Don't worry for it. Now, first of all, understand why preprocessor is not required in Java. Guys, understand it, no? In Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in don't worry what is a package and everything I will give information to you, but try to understand. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files or not. Similarly, in Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of what they know, classes and interfaces in don't mind about class interface immediately, just we can understand a package. Package is a folder contains classes and interfaces, that's it. Class and interface is a programming elements in Java. Similarly, header files. I get my point or not? So in Java, classes and interface are the programming elements whose combination is called as what there? A package. Package is a collection of classes and interfaces, not more than that. Right, sir. Now, what are the various examples for these packages now? Understand it clearly. Java.io, Java.util, Java.sql. Or get my point or not? Java.sql and so on. So many. And so on. So many packages are available. Guys, now tell me what's the point I said to you in Java? In Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. Examples for packages are what there? Java.io, Java.util, Java.sql. Their purposes are also be not required. They are the packages now. Nice, good. Next one. I want to use a predefined library in my Java program. In my Java program, I want to use predefined library which is available inside these packages now. In the case of C and C++, if we want to use predefined library which is provided by header files in C program, we have to include that header files or not? We have to include header files in a C program or not by using hash include statement. Am I right or not? Similarly, in Java applications, if we want to use predefined library, if we want to use predefined library in Java applications, if we want to use predefined library, then we have to include the required packages. We have to include the required packages. Observe carefully. Right, sir? We have to include packages or not? What are the packages we required here? Okay. To include the packages, we have to use which statement? No, import statement. To include the packages, what statement here we have to use there? No, import statement here we have to use. Got my point or not? So instead of saying include, then what I'm telling there, this is not the right word. Then I have to use what they know. You have to import. We have to import. Answer my point here. What we have to do there? You have to import the packages. Importing the package is almost all equal to what they know. Include the header files. Yes, sir. Got my point or not? Nice. Very good. Next one is what there. Right, sir. Then after that, after completion of this, how we are going to import the packages now? Example, if you observe this, all of you guys. Example, if you observe this, import java.io.star. Next one, import java.util.star. Import java.util.star. Understand it clearly. Next one is after that, import java.sql.star. Sir, what is this star, sir? I said to you previously, package is a collection of classes and interfaces or not? Package is what? Collection of classes and interfaces. Java.io is a package or not? Inside the Java.io package, so many classes and interfaces are available. I want to use all of them. I want to get all classes and all interfaces of Java.io package. That's why I've used star. Java.util.star. I want to use all classes and interfaces of Java.util package to my Java program. java.sql.store. All classes and interfaces from java.sql I want to use in my Java program. Star is representing all classes and interfaces. Yes, sir. All of you are getting my point now? Good. Listen carefully. I prepared a Java program. Inside the Java program, I have written all import statements. Listen carefully. When I compile my Java program, when I compile my Java program, no preprocessor inside the Java. Compiler, preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. No preprocessor, directly compiler. When I compile my Java program, compiler will recognize all import statements. Compiler will recognize all import statements. Compiler will take the provided package names. Compiler will take the provided package names. Compiler will go inside the Java software. Compiler will go inside the Java predefined library inside the Java software, where compiler will check whether these packages are existed or not existed. Preprocessor also has done the same thing. Compiler has checked whether these packages are existed or not existed inside the Java predefined library inside the Java software. If these packages are not existed, if these packages are not existed in Java, compiler will raise an error. Package java.io does not exist. Package java.sql does not exist. Package java.util does not exist. Compiler will check these packages inside the Java software. If they're not available, compiler will raise an error. Package xxx does not exist. Package abc does not exist. For example, if these packages are available inside the Java software, if compiler identifies these packages inside the Java software, following or not? If these packages are existed inside the Java software, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. In case of C and C++, when header files are identified, preprocessor has loaded them immediately. That is called a static loading and compilation time. But in the case of Java, what happened there? No, compiler will check whether these packages are available or not available inside the Java software. Not available, raise an error. If they're available, compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. In Java, compiler is responsible for checking whether packages are available or not available. Compiler is not responsible for loading any package content to the memory in Java. Got my point now? Got the difference between C, C++ and Java here in the point of loading predefined library? In the case of C and C++, predefined library was loaded at compilation time, static loading. But in the case of Java, compiler is not responsible for loading any predefined library. Compiler is responsible for checking whether these packages are existed or not existed inside the Java software. Got my point or not? Okay. If compiler is not loading this predefined library, who will load this predefined library? Get my point, sir. Some of you are sleeping, sir. I'm recognizing your faces. Directly I will come to you, sure. By the time your heartbeat will be increased, I'm telling to you. Huh? Don't sleep. Don't sleep. Sleeping is a bad habit inside the class now. It's a two worst thing. I said to you already. Just try to check my face now. If it is not possible, try to check that screen. Huh? Right. Listen carefully. We are in the middle of the point. So if the predefined library is identified, compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load any predefined library to the memory. That's okay, fine. But who will load that predefined library in Java? No. When we execute the program after compilation, when we execute the program at the runtime, at execution time, JVM will load the required library to the memory. While in execution of our program, when JVM required the library, then JVM will load that required library to the memory. That's it. JVM will load the library to the memory. Compiler is not loading library. JVM will load the library to the memory. Now tell me, in the case of Java, at what time predefined library is loaded to the memory? At a compilation time or at runtime? Come on, compilation time or runtime? Runtime. Loading predefined library at a runtime is called as dynamic loading. Loading predefined library at a runtime is called as what there? Dynamic loading. Is clear to all of you know? All right, sir. Now I'm asking one question there. Now try to answer for it. Java is following dynamic loading or static loading? Dynamic loading. In Java, import statements are supporting static loading or dynamic loading? Dynamic loading. In Java, JVM is performing dynamic loading or static loading? Dynamic loading only. But in case of C and C++, hash include statements are supporting which type of loading? Static loading. Preprocessor is performing which type of loading? Static loading. C++ are following which loading? Static loading. But Java is following which loading? Dynamic loading. JVM is following which loading? Dynamic loading. Import statements are following which loading? Dynamic loading. Tell me, C and C++ are static, Java is dynamic. In this context also we can conclude or not? Right, sir. Now coming to the point now, I said to you, preprocessor is required in C and C++. Why? Because to recognize hash include statements, to load header files content to the memory, we require preprocessor. In the case of what there? C and C++. Immediately I'm telling there, preprocessor is not required in Java. Why preprocessor is not required in Java? What is the reason for it? No, reason is very clear. Why preprocessor is not required in Java? Reason is very clear. In Java, hash include statements are not available. Why preprocessor is not required in Java? In Java, hash include statements are not available. Why hash include statements are not available in Java? In Java, header files are not available. Why header files are not available in Java? In Java, predefined libraries are available in the form of classes and interfaces, which are available inside the packages. To import the packages, import statement is required, not a hash include statements. To execute import statements, no, to recognize import statements, no, compiler and JVM is available inside the Java, not required preprocessor. So because of that reason, preprocessor does not required inside the Java, but preprocessor is required inside what there? C and C++. So Java doesn't require preprocessor, but C and C++ does require what there? No, that preprocessor. That's the conclusion here we are getting clearly. Yes, sir. Now tell me, Java is a simple or not? Java content is simple or not? Now we can specify clearly the Java or not, along with the C and C++. Whenever we are comparing C, C++, Java, now we can specify Java is totally a different programming language when compared with the C and C++ or not. Definitely, interviewer may touch this point here. Already we have C and C++. Then what is the requirement to go for Java? Here 2 points I'm giving clarity. One is what there? C and C++ are static, whereas Java is what there? Dynamic. Dynamic is more powerful than static programming languages. Point number one. Point number two, preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Why preprocessor is required in C and C++? No, to recognize hash include statements in order to load header files to the memory. Why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java? Preprocessor is not required in the case of Java. Why? Because in Java, hash include statements are not available. Why? Because in Java, header files are not available. Why? Because in Java, predefined library is available in the form of classes and interfaces and packages now. To load packages now, import statements are required, not hash include statements. To recognize import statements, compile and JVM are available. We don't require what they know, preprocessor. Read my point or not? So in the same flow, we have to give information to that interviewer. When you go to that interviewer hall there, you have to wait for this question from interviewer. Tell me the differences between C, C++, Java. We have to wait for this question. If interviewer is asking this question, that's finished. You have to tell nearly 1 hour of information. Explain everything to that interviewer. Definitely interviewer will satisfy about your answer. Definitely he has to give an offer letter to you. Got my point or not? That's fine, guys. That's all for today. Total. That notes I will type there. Content, internal process I will type there. Maybe today or tomorrow I will type there. In front of you I will type that. Once again, I will give small explanation for this, just 2 to 3 minutes of time. I'll give the content there tomorrow. Then after that, I'll move to the next topic in tomorrow. What is the next topic in tomorrow, guys? That is very, very important. The next topic in tomorrow is what there? C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages. But Java is what there? Platform independent programming language. Why? That internal concepts I'm going to discuss. Very, very important topic. Without failure, try to attend for that class there and tomorrow. Right? That's all, guys. That's all for today. We'll meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see the remaining content. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Guys, anything else apart from this? Office లో ఉన్నారు ఉన్నారా అంటే క్యాష్ లేదన్నా Yeah, not required to go for spoken English, but what I'm telling there, whenever chances are available, try to speak in English, even though you're not good in that. No, no, it's a matter of practice only. If you do practice regularly, then it will be improved automatically. Don't join with any classes there. Not required. Directly you can speak in English with everybody. Even an outsider speak in English. Yeah, definitely. Then automatically you'll improve yourself. But don't join with any spoken English classes. Not recommended. Right, thank you. Yeah. Uh, dynamic. Purely dynamic. No compilation in case of Python. Direct py tester.py. Finish execution only. Rx Java will be covered in this course. And Suman, can you elaborate what is this Rx actually? FX or Rx? Suman Singh, I'm not getting that. Can you give that abbreviation for it? Maybe it might be a different name or the same content with a different name. Just can you elaborate it? What is it Rx actually? Reactor Java. I don't know. I don't know Suman. I don't have awareness on it. Reactor Java, I don't know. But I have to check once. Then give 1 day of time. Then I will check it. Then I will give information to you. But as of now, I'm not aware about it. Okay, right, fine. Uh, uh, అర్థం కదా అచ్చా సి మధ్యలో ఆపినారా Pravalika, are you there? Pravalika, are you there? No response. Anyway, Pravalika, Pravalika Dasika, just please check, reach out to our office people. Then I'm not related to this money and all these things. Please reach out to our office people there. Then you can contact with our office people, and they will give more clarity on this. I think so. Maybe that 15K is not for complete Java package there. I think so. It may be somewhat higher. Then anyway, reach out to our office people there. Then these are the numbers there, and they'll give more clarity and related to money and all. Okay. Yeah, better to ask them, better to request them, then definitely they will recognize your request and they'll move forward. Don't worry for it. I think so that 15K, I think so it's not the right figure for it. For complete Java, then try to check with your office. Then basic Java payment, I think so it will be. Okay, right. Now try to reach out our office, then our people will give more clarity. Right. Guys, anything else? And shall we meet on tomorrow? Shall we meet on tomorrow, guys? Right. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. It's a basic Java. I will reach out to Durgasoft people, sir. Okay, fine. Thank you, Prolika. Thanks a lot. Guys, I'll meet on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll see the remaining part. Thank you. Thanks a lot.